13 News Now is highlighting all the good in Hampton Roads. All year long, we've brought you stories that celebrate our community.
He never knew me, but we had this, kindred spirit.
And our rich past.
And I did come here as a child in the 50s to the beach.
There's no shortage of incredible stories here from people making history.
I'm the very first Filipino American.
To a little girl changing the game.
When I grow older, I feel like I'm going to be inspiring a lot of girls.
Over the next hour, 13 News Now is looking back at the stories of now. Here at 13 News Now, we take pride in telling the stories of now. For the last 7 decades, we've been your source for local news, sharing the good, the bad, and all the triumphs.
And over the next hour, we'll look back on some of our favorite stories that celebrate the people and contributions that make our region great. Thanks for joining us. I'm Janet Roach.
And I'm Philip Townsend. We're going to start with a success story on the Eastern Shore. The Museum of Chincoteague Island officially buying Beebe Ranch.
The museum spent months raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to purchase and preserve the landmark that's brought generations of visitors to Virginia. Alex Littlehales spoke with the previous owner of the historic property.
It's nothing like it was years ago, but it was a working farm back in the day.
When I was a little boy, I would ask my father, where did my grandfather, where did he get all these wild ponies?
It's hard to find those anymore. The simpler times in life.
Bring back something from your childhood maybe that's a simpler time.
This crowd searches for a site that reminds them of simpler times.
So everybody has a favorite, and yeah, you're gonna hear everybody yelling and screaming.
Hey, Legacy! Woo!
Every April, firefighters round up the wild ponies of Chincoteague.
Oh my gosh! Oh, look and see the baby.
This is the yearly vet check for the island's main tourist draw and attraction. The love for these animals is clear.
When you actually really physically see them, it's a whole different thing.
And that feeling can be traced back to one place and one family.
She's not going to do any tricks until I give her a treat, probably.
Billy Beebe is the last head of the Beebe Ranch.
Good gracious, girl.
This historic ranch,
oh yeah,
a once 100-acre property housed as many as 150 wild ponies near the Virginia-Maryland border.
And what happened was, yeah, my job when I was little, 30 ponies would come up and drink water from a bathtub, and my job was to take a water hose, drag it out there, and put it in the bathtubs. They can kick and fight over that water.
Kids and adults across Virginia and the Delmarva Peninsula may know this ranch as the setting of famed children's book, Misty of Chincoteague. But now, Billy and his sister say it's time to sell.
I'm 69, I'll be 70. It takes a lot. It still takes work. A couple of my ponies, they love to break out. Come on back. You rascal, come here.
Developers approached Billy with an offer of more than $600,000 to buy and divide the land into plots. Billy would rather his ranch go somewhere else.
We had some emails saying, we'd like to give you the same amount. But I don't want that. I want the museum to have it to preserve.
Financially, they could have sold it a long time ago and made a bunch of money.
I'm just surprised.
Billy can't believe how far and wide the efforts to save his home stretch.
From California all over the United States.
A symbol for how his home means more than the price tag.
All these years later, yeah.
In Chincoteague, Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
And according to Chesapeake Bay Magazine, Misty of Chincoteague led to a 6-volume series with more than 5 million copies sold in the U.S.
Okay, tending to land is no easy feat, but a herd of coworkers are proving they're more than just a cute addition to a farm in Sussex County. In fact, they could help shrink our environmental footprint here in Virginia. Alex Littlehales putting his farmer's vest back on But this time he traveled west to give us a look at this twist on lawn care.
Don't let the quiet of rural Virginia fool you. If you listen closely, you'll hear a buzz of activity. The birds, the bees, even the leaves. Like any farm, managing one that's 200 acres requires maintenance. Luckily, Marcus Gray has some reliable co-workers.
Shepherding, solar grazing, sheep farming, whatever you want to call it. It's just sheep farming. There just happen to be panels on the land. Come by. Yeah, they probably get a bad reputation for being unintelligent, but that's not true. They've got more intelligent people realize.
Gray is a sheep farmer by trade and landscaper by circumstance.
Walk up, trip. We thought we'd have 25, 30 sheep, just have move around our home farm. I saw the solar that was going in. I said, okay, here's an opportunity that I know they're doing in other states, California, Texas, places like that.
Gray is part of a pilot program testing how to upkeep thousands of acres of solar panel farmland with a more natural solution.
Clipping down the plants a little each time they come through. So rather than burning fossil fuels on a renewable energy site to maintain it, we're actually, producing livestock.
An old practice and new application.
The fact that they can get under the equipment, you don't have to modify the equipment significantly to be able to implement sheep grazing. They know when they need to take a break, but there's no OSHA requirement for them to take a break. They stop eating when they're full. Walk up.
Gray tends to 6 solar farms across Virginia, all power either leased or owned by Dominion Energy. On a day as sunny as this, the 80,000 panels just on Sussex Drive alone can power up to 5,000 homes.
Walk up.
It's the herd's job to make sure the grasses don't overgrow the panels.
This equipment, once it gets to a certain temperature, it doesn't perform as well. It gets too hot. You're having green grass growing underneath it will help it from overheating.
Across the 6 farms, Gray owns a lot of sheep.
Yeah, no, I didn't think we'd be 800 where we're at right now.
And may need more if his current herd needs help keeping up.
They're providing a vegetation maintenance service. They're basically our lawnmowers. And we just try to keep them healthy and running right.
In Sussex, Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
And some of the sheep have actually given birth to lambs who now live on the solar farms. Representatives from Dominion say they're figuring out whether this type of maintenance is cost effective and worth expanding to other solar farms across the state.
Food insecurity is a growing concern in Hampton Roads, but a new form of farming is going beyond putting food on families' tables. Ann Spiracco shows us how this option is planting hope in communities.
Oh, and these are radishes.
It's small in stature.
This is a big one.
And so are the young hands helping it grow.
We have to keep an eye on her because she runs really fast.
But this microfarm's impact is by no means short in reach.
Thank you so much.
The East End Marshall neighborhood in Newport News served as a home for Elisa Francis and her family for the past 5 years.
We knew that downtown here was suffering with sort of a food desert.
With few options for quality groceries, the mother of 5 had to find a better way to put food on the table. Little did she know a new opportunity started growing right in her backyard.
But the blessing is being able to come here, I can get almost everything. We were able to get squash, zucchini, potatoes, collard greens, onions at a much lower price.
Talking about buying local, that is definitely buying local when you're buying from an urban farmer.
Renee Foster made it her mission to help families like Francis with Hampton Roads urban agriculture.
To see food produced right in your own community is like there is nothing like it.
While prices rise on grocery store shelves, Foster says microfarm costs are staying grounded.
Like watermelons was going in most markets for, especially at farmers market, they were going for $10 and $12. We were still doing watermelons $5, $6.
But these are figs.
Taking an old lot and turning it into a green sanctuary, Foster planted more than just food in this neighborhood.
There is no stranger that walks out here. So with that being said, not only are we going to provide you with something nutritious that you can take home, we also would teach you how to grow it if need be. So there's that hope that I'm able to sustain myself.
So these small hands planting a future can create hope for a bigger life.
Exposes young children to gardening, herbs, community, fellowship. Long when we're gone, then we have the next generation that has been exposed to these types of gardens and, yes, farms.
If this is all we have.
Reporting in Newport News, I'm Ann Sparacco for 13 News Now.
And Renee Foster says she and other organizers officially launched the Urban Agriculture Coalition in partnership with Christopher Newport University to create more micro-farms in Hampton Roads.
All right, coming up, a high schooler turning his frustration into innovation. Why one day his creation could help you avoid a trip to the doctor's office.
And Curiosity connects fifth graders from Virginia Beach to a deli 7 hours away. How a mystery over a math lesson is building new relationships. And welcome back. We know school safety is top of mind in Hampton Roads, but while students have faced challenges inside the classroom, they've also reached some big milestones. That includes one Newport News high schooler who created his very own app. Sarah Hammond explains why this creation could save you a trip to the doctor.
What started as a way to get into a camp,
a cute gimmick just to get a space camp scholarship,
turned into something much bigger for Tecumseh Weaver's nephew.
He just kept entering it into contests and was successful about it.
It being Skin in the Game, an app 14-year-old Jamie Ashby created himself that uses machine learning to detect skin conditions like bug bites and rashes. He says the idea was actually born out of frustration.
My aunt,
not me,
she would, every time I get a bug bite, she would say it's ringworm. So I made the app to prove her wrong.
Now he's reached the top 30 in the Thermo Fisher Scientific Junior Innovators Challenge, a National Society for Science STEM competition. So here's how it works.
You would take a picture, use photo, and then it will bring up your photo and it will bring up, and it'll bring up the name and the percentage on how accurate it is.
While it's not available in the App Store yet, he says that's his next step. And his aunt, who has been a willing test subject along the way, says she couldn't be more proud.
I'm still shocked that all this happened, really.
In Newport News, Sarah Hammond, 13 News Now.
And Ashby finished the competition in at least the top 30, winning $1,000 for Menchville High School to use towards STEM activities.
It's a great one there. Well, our educators put in countless hours to find ways to teach and engage students. That hard work paid off for one Virginia Beach teacher after her math lesson sparked a little curiosity among a group of fifth graders. I got the chance to visit Bird Neck Elementary School to see how that interest connected students to a deli 7 hours away.
So I'm in Bird Neck Elementary in Virginia Beach.
It started with a menu.
7 hours from our deli.
The 9th Street Deli in Indiana, Pennsylvania.
We don't remember where we got it, how we found it. You got to put that number underneath it.
Bird Neck Elementary math coach Joanne Coet has been using it to teach decimals for 13 years in Virginia Beach.
Tell them what your difference is.
Never questioning whether the menu was real.
Oh my.
That is until this year, when a particularly curious group of students just couldn't let it go.
Well, we kept asking, can you dial the numbers?
So I whip out my cell phone, called the number on the menu, and it goes, 9th Street Deli, can I help you?
She explained to me that she had a menu from what might be more than a decade old.
The deli was real. And here we are a few months later. 9th Street Deli owner Josh Muscatello walking the halls of Bird Neck Elementary School.
We're about to surprise the kids.
Hi, boys and girls. Mr. Josh drove all the way from Pennsylvania.
Who's excited? Me. All right, who likes to eat? Me. All right, who likes
After hearing fifth grade students have been learning real-world math from his menu, Josh had to make the trip.
I'm 40, but let's focus less on my age and more on the menu.
He brought school supply boxes for every student, too.
Yeah, look under steak and cheese. Circle it with your pencil. A bologna.
Even staying to teach an entire lesson.
$13.55. Oh boy, you guys are hungry.
He did the math lesson for me. He couldn't have asked any better for me.
Ham?
And over Italian subs brought straight from Indiana, Pennsylvania, 7 hours away.
Pickles?
Yes.
They closed the case of the mysterious menu, celebrating the bigger lesson learned along the way. A little bit of curiosity can turn distant strangers into friends.
I liked what happened today.
Menu get here in the first place. I learned the previous owner of the deli actually had ties to Hampton Roads and may have brought some menus over at some point.
You may have heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. One program called Amend Together in Norfolk is proving that statement to be true. The initiative works to end the cycle of abuse by reaching young boys. Eugene Daniels shows us how.
Inside Southside STEM Academy in Norfolk, this isn't your ordinary class.
What you write? I know you wrote something.
These 8th graders are talking about what it means to be men.
They have preconceived notions of manhood, so we try to help them with that, which also is directly related to decreasing violence towards girls and women.
Welcome to the Amend Together program. Twice a week, men from the community drop in and talk to middle school boys like Thaddeus Kelly and Devon Copeland.
It's like a code of ethics. We help each other. There's so many parts of manhood like we went over.
And a big part they are taught is how to respect women. The goal behind these sessions is to stop the cycle of violence against women and girls by teaching these boys lessons in healthy masculinity. Topics range from dating to conflict resolution. They talk about dealing with emotions and respecting others.
How do you respect your mom? How do you respect other females? It's in school or in society in general, especially with women in the households.
Now in Hampton Roads, the program is offered to 6th through 8th graders at Southside STEM Academy. And it's orchestrated by the YWCA of Southampton Roads, which serves families impacted by domestic violence. In Virginia, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience physical violence from an intimate partner in their lifetime. That's according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Ellis Young says more than 15 million children nationwide are exposed to some type of domestic violence in their homes. That's why, to shift the culture, she believes intervention programs must target the next generation.
If we can be on this side of the work, helping to steward their thinking, helping to steward their emotions and their feelings, then maybe we won't see so many of our women victimized.
Devon and Thaddeus say it's changed the way they think.
Yeah, this group, it's really like, it sets us on a good path to actually understanding the world, because the world is a crazy place.
Having positive role models come in, that could help them to see another side of life, another side of manhood, where they can see that you don't really have to be violent. You don't have to really be dominant to be a man.
The YWCA is also looking to get the program on local college campuses. They could use more help. They need more male volunteers. If you or someone you know is interested, find this story on our website.
2 military retirees now connected thanks to a 25-year-old discovery. Why this unearthing is giving a family closure.
And honoring our history, where you can find a first-of-its-kind marker in Hampton Roads. Hampton Roads is home to more than a dozen military installations, meaning countless service members have passed through our region.
Now 2 retirees are proving it only takes one good deed to build new connections. It all started with a 25-year-old discovery in the woods of Suffolk. I got the chance to speak with a metal detecting hobbyist who stumbled upon an old wallet.
2.5 years ago, Greg Stoger caught the bug.
It's a nice musket ball.
A retired Navy reservist.
.45-70 caliber Springfield backdoor rifle.
Turned relic hunter.
Right, so here's my metal detector I use. Headphone. Half the fun is finding it.
About a month ago, his favorite hobby brought him to a wooded area near Lake Kilby in Suffolk.
You know, there's a story behind everything, and that's kind of like what I look for.
But it wasn't a Civil War artifact he'd find that day.
Came across a faint signal in the ground, almost the length of this right here. It was about 8 inches down.
a wallet.
It looked pretty toasted, roots growing through it, covered in mud.
Greg stashed it and went about his day, later finding a military ID inside, a U.S. Marine named Robert Heffernan. And so began the days-long search and social media sleuthing that eventually connected him to that Marine.
Kind of brought back all types of memories for him.
Bob Heffernan was just starting his military career. He was in Hampton Roads receiving treatment for testicular cancer, which he beat. His wife was 9 months pregnant, and one day he was robbed at gunpoint.
3 guys with shotguns.
They stole Heffernan's Dockers wallet, took the cash, and tossed it into the woods. The wallet Greg Stoger would find 25 years later. He's got boxes of valuable coins and Civil War relics, but they just can't compare to Greg's latest discovery, finding closure for a now happy family from the not-so-distant past.
He never knew me, but we had this, kindred spirit of both being in the military, so I made a new friend down in North Carolina.
And Greg tells me the first person he connected with after finding the wallet was Bob's daughter, the daughter who was in her mother's womb when the wallet was stolen 25 years ago.
Amazing story. Well, connecting through history, how a fight for recognition is bridging the gap between strangers. And breaking barriers in the line of duty, how 4 people are making history at the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office.
Plus, why you may want to remember the name of this 10-year-old girl in Virginia Beach. Welcome back to the Stories of Now, this hour-long special highlighting how passionate the people in our community really are.
And there's no shortage of inspiring stories here. During the next half hour, we'll catch up with an artist who's telling history through art, a teen who will take the first step on a new path, and college students who put Norfolk State University on an international stage.
We have a lot to get to, but we start with the efforts to give the people who fight and die for our country the recognition they deserve. We first brought you the story of a Portsmouth woman's ties to the World War II all-black women's Army Corps unit called the 688 in 2021. Now her stories made others realize they too are part of this peace in time. Ann Spracco takes us through their journey.
Hi, how are you? Hi!
It's not by chance Anita Fletcher is meeting Wilbert Henderson and Miss Morrow in this Chesapeake church.
What a big hug. I love it.
Yes. This union, while only known about for a couple months, is almost 100 years in the making.
This is such an awesome occasion. I mean, this is strengthening your legacy.
I, was listening to her talk about her mom and the story about the male battalion and what have you.
Fletcher's mother, Audrey Whitney, served in the 6888th Central Postal Directory Battalion during World War II. The 6888 was a first of its kind all-women's Army Corps unit. We first told you about her story in 2021 when we learned Whitney took on part of the task of sorting through millions of pieces of backlogged mail during the war.
And I think even though it's recognized, I still have goosebumps about it.
Anita made it her mission to unearth this rich history in Hampton Roads. But little did she know, she didn't have to go very far.
I could recall times where during service where my pastor would talk about snippets of her time in the military. And so I sat there for a minute. I said, I've got to find Miss Fletcher. I got to figure out how to find her.
That effort came in the form of a letter about Miss Morrow's pastor, Odessa Lawrence.
Of course, I had to get in touch with the family, and I called them and I said, I think Pastor was a World War II veteran, and I think she's due to receive a medal. I think she should get all the honors, even in her death, that's due her. She was a person who was truly worthy.
Pastor, I call her Pastor, but she's my aunt.
Odessa didn't have any children, but she was a natural mother, helping to raise her nephew, Wilbert Henderson.
She established the church in 1968, and she just loved people.
Part of her motivation to get the job done. The World War II veteran hand-delivered pieces of mail across Europe in the final months of the war.
there was this one particular story she told about having to carry a piece of mail, a very important piece of mail, to a destination and how she had to ride a bike to get it there.
That's one of Pastor right there.
But behind that uniform, Odessa's true values lie deeper in the hearts of the people who knew her.
When I came out in 2013 to live with her, to take care of her until she passed, you just can't do enough for her. And all the members feel the same way, because she have taken care of so many of the members through the hard time, through the teaching, and loving and caring. That was her life.
Lawrence passed away in 2015, just 2 years before Audrey Whitney said goodbye to her family for the last time. But years later, these women's deeply rooted legacies are still bringing people together.
Those women were very honored to even be there. And they did what they had to do to get the job done, and they got it done.
And now this historical connection has a new story to tell.
And I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
In Chesapeake.
That's right.
I'm Ann Spirocco for 13 News Now.
And President Joe Biden signed a bill into law so the 6 888 women like Whitney and Lawrence will receive the U.S. Congressional Gold Medal posthumously. There are still a number of women who served in this unit still alive today.
Our region is full of rich history. The first Africans arrived on the shores of Hampton Roads in 1619. But 400 years later, we're still learning about our past and recognizing the grueling path to freedom and equality. One effort is underway to protect an important piece of African American history in Virginia, the Green Book. First published by Victor Hugo Green in 1936, ran for roughly 3 decades as a guide for African Americans to safely travel during segregation.
We have folks, living people that remember these places very intimately.
That was really a type of monument for us Black people.
And there are more than 100 Green Book locations across the Tidewater region. Virginia is working to honor these places, and those efforts were finally cemented in Hampton. Alex Littlehales shows us where you can find the first of its kind marker.
Lost history doesn't mean forgotten history. Memories can still come crashing in for Helen Phillips Pitts.
And I did come here as a child in the 50s to the beach. Oh, yeah.
She remembers this building well.
Even though I was younger when those people were coming, I heard about the stories.
Built in 1898, the Bayshore Hotel opened as a safe haven for Black travelers and vacationers, a hotel that Helen's grandfather helped build.
This is my father's father. He never mentioned it to me. You talk about humble, and it probably wasn't a big deal to them. And it became a big deal after integration.
For 30 years, travelers could find the hotel written in the Green Book, a safe traveling guide for African Americans published through segregation. It's been decades since the hotel's demolition, but today,
what an honor it is.
Its legacy is restored.
There will be many commemorative markings for sites throughout Virginia mentioned in the Green Book. This is government at work, and this is the way it should work.
State leaders unveil the first in Hampton. The state's first Green Book historical marker honoring the sites both demolished and still standing.
I have been so emotional all week. I feel like I'm going to cry at the drop of a hat.
It's the first, but far from the last marker coming to the Commonwealth, a now permanent reminder that this history won't be lost.
The importance of it to the community.
Our analysis of the Green Book locations in the Tidewater region show roughly 83% of them are either demolished or their status is unknown. In Hampton, I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
A new work of art is up in Portsmouth, a mural paying tribute to one of the only schools that Black children could attend. Photojournalist Jason Walsh spoke with the man behind the paintbrush about this special project.
I've been doing art since I was a little kid. This came about, it was SPPA, the Support Portsmouth Public Art. They reached out to me and said, hey, we want to be able to do this project. We're doing 8 to 10 murals throughout the city of Portsmouth, And this particular one is a tribute to the Olympian Sports Club, which also was one of the Rosenwald schools back in the day called Key Road School. The Key Road School was started in 1926 by Julius Rosenwald with influence by Booker T. Washington. It was like the only school for black kids to go to in Portsmouth. In the 70s, it transitioned into the Olympian Sports Club, and they supported black youth athletics.
The world is yours. The world is yours.
There's two kids. The young lady's holding a book for the education side when it was a school. The other young boy, he's holding a basketball for, the sports club. Working with John Joyce and SPPA, they kind of let me know what elements they wanted included in the mural.
We founded about 11, 12 years ago. We started the HUG project. It's Hope, Understanding, and Giving. And we have a matching grant with the city. We are producing anywhere between 8 to 11 to 12 murals this year on that theme.
I was just so happy that, it came out the way we envisioned it to. Just all the love that we have received from passerbyers in the community was very special.
And you can visit the mural at Olympian Sports Club, Inc. on Portsmouth Boulevard.
Hampton Roads is full of phenomenal people who are making history right now, and that includes 4 employees with the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office. They reached notable firsts while representing the community they serve. Angelique Arentock has the story.
22 members of the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office are moving up the ranks as either sergeant, lieutenant, captain, or chief deputy.
I encourage you all to be servant leaders in your new roles.
Interim Sheriff Rocky Holcomb took his oath of office. Several law enforcement officers under his leadership are making history.
I'm the very first Filipino-American chief deputy of the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office.
Chief Deputy Alvy Kulanding pays tribute to his parents.
They came a long way to bring us here.
Who immigrated to the U.S. from the Philippines.
Without my family all around us, this would not be possible.
I'm excited for this next chapter in VBSO's story.
Tina Mapes is the second woman in department history to hold the title of Chief Deputy.
I'm a deputy sheriff, and so that's how I think about it, and that's how it's been my entire career.
Chief Deputy Mapes says women make up nearly 30% of the sworn positions at Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office. Among them are newly promoted Captain Lois Thompson and Lieutenant Deanna Harvey. A Sheriff's Office spokeswoman says Thompson is the first Hispanic woman and Harvey is the first person with Indigenous heritage to serve in their respective roles. In Virginia Beach, Angelique Arentock, 13 News Now.
A young girl is shaking up sports usually dominated by boys. How many championships she already has under her belt and why she's working so hard.
And giving communities a reason to celebrate the monumental moments we saw on the court and on the field.
We know women can do anything, and that includes dominating sports that are seemingly only meant for men.
One little girl in Virginia Beach is learning from her idols and making her name known in jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Get this, she isn't even in high school yet. Bethany Reese sat down with Mia Williams to learn the drive behind the moves she's making on and off the mat.
I take a deep breath and I talk to myself. You can do it. You are good at this. I've worked hard for this.
Mia Williams trains hard to be the best.
Nice, Mia. I'm a girl, and girls get underestimated a lot. When I started jiu-jitsu, I started to really love it, and then I started doing wrestling, and then I fell in love with it too.
A love for athletics runs deep.
My dad was an NFL player, and every time I'm like working and I'm like tired and hurting, he reminds me that even if you're tired, you have to keep going to get better.
Everything that I accomplished in my years of playing football, you know what, it's out the window because it's her time.
He knows she's a star.
Mia is a great child, very nourishing, very kind, but she is an animal on the mat.
And she has the medals to prove it.
I've won the girls folk style state title, the boys folk style state title, the girls freestyle state title, the boys freestyle state title, and the Greco-Roman state title. And I've won 2 nationals. And in jiu-jitsu, I've won 2 world championships.
Those are just a few of the big ones. She started doing this early on.
I started doing it at 7 years old.
Tell us how old you are.
10.
Just a kid, but a 10-year-old kid with drive.
If you win a bunch of medals, you're gonna have targets on your back. You can't give them empathy, you're gonna just blast them.
At tournaments, her mom Jamie and dad Michael watch with pride.
Okay, you got everybody behind you. They're cheering you on. You can win this match.
It's not often that you see Mia lose.
Don't be scared of it. Watch your head outside.
I'm a fighter. I can do this.
It is very rare as a 10-year-old to have that kind of mentality and push.
Her coaches know Mia is special.
She has the whole package, you know.
Whatever the girl says she's going to do, she goes out and makes it happen.
And people take notice.
I'm the only girl in the room, and maybe I can inspire other girls to join me.
She recognizes the way some look at her on the mat.
So I can see them like smile, and it makes me feel like I'm getting underestimated. Now it makes me feel like I have to go even harder.
And hard work pays off.
They're raising my hand and feel like I accomplish a goal every time.
Goals are Mia's motivators.
Going to the Olympics is my goal that I've set for myself in the future.
Visualizing it.
I picture me on the top of the medal stand.
Those behind her support the vision.
You will see Mia in the Olympics.
But she knows it's more than medals.
When I grow older, I feel like I'm gonna be inspiring a lot of girls.
She's doing that even now.
I'm just like 10 years old. They don't know what's coming in the future, like what I can be in the future.
So, remember the name Mia Williams.
I'll remember. Mia won the 2023 Pan American Jiu-Jitsu World Championship. This win cements her as the 3-time world champion. Wow.
Our region is home to people full of talent and potential. In 2023, that talent went on full display in Newport News, making it the City of Champions. The boys basketball team at Woodside High School became the state's Class 5 champions. It's hard to forget the moment the Wolverines came out on top, securing their first basketball state title since 2005. And they aren't the only ones who won big on the court. Christopher Newport University celebrated its first ever men's basketball national title in 2023. The Captains beat Mount Union, scoring a buzzer beater to put them ahead 74-72.
This place is really special, and this is a really magical time here with all of our sports teams.
Man, it kind of all made it seem kind of real now. Like having the whole celebration, just kind of like throughout the whole time, I just needed somebody to pinch me to make sure it was real, man.
The CNU men's squad got the chance to celebrate their historic win at the White House.
A memorable moment on the football field at Old Dominion University. A special surprise giving a Chesapeake team the chance to regain what he lost. Alex Littlehales with the story.
Saturdays mean game day at Old Dominion University. The tailgates, the bands, and the fans.
This is amazing. This is bigger than anything I've ever been to before.
In Levi Barrera's ideal world, he'd be suiting up on Saturday mornings.
I've never been so attached to something. Actual blood, sweat, and tears.
But this year, Levi learned firsthand that life doesn't always go according to plan.
100%. If I could go back to playing football any day, I would.
Doctors first told Levi only months ago.
Just doing tests, doing all these different things, thinking of what it could possibly be. We finally came to the conclusion that it was cancer. Immediately you think of the worst, so immediately amputation was on my mind, even though I was like, no, there's no way.
And Levi is still learning how to live like any other 17-year-old. But he's learning how to live with his chemotherapy and learning how to live with a prosthetic right leg.
I feel like they've had it harder than me, honestly, because I can deal with it because it's me.
Here's really why he stood out to us. He was a football player himself before his amputation, and so he loves the game and just loves being around the game.
Levi won't ever have the life he lived before his diagnosis, but he can find a new way to move forward.
And Toby's Dream Foundation.
This is the moment the Chartway Promise Foundation surprised Levi with his wish.
That's awesome.
An omnidirectional treadmill and virtual reality goggles.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Treadmill's coming on Wednesday.
All right.
So Levi can run wherever he'd like.
And he just wanted to be able to run again like he used to before the amputation.
Levi's days of playing football are behind him.
Like, I don't know what to say. This is awesome.
But he'll take the first step on his new path soon.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna run a marathon. Yeah, 100%. As soon as I get it, I'm gonna be on that thing nonstop.
In Norfolk, Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
I love you too, Gabriel.
Love it. The Chartway Promise Foundation has granted more than 200 wishes like this across the country this year.
A big milestone for the Norfolk State University Mighty Legion, how the marching band prepared to put themselves on the international map. The Norfolk State University Mighty Legion added another milestone to its storied history.
Yeah, performances at presidential campaigns and the Rose Bowl parade have launched NSU's marching band into the national spotlight. Alex Littlehales followed the Legion as they prepared to put themselves on the international map.
When practice makes perfect, Malin Napier doesn't mind the late nights in Ham Hall.
I was always one of the types that would like to bang on stuff or like hit stuff, percussion.
It comes with the territory of being a leader.
If not the first, but the very few BD line leaders ever in the section. Even though like I'm a female and maybe we seem weaker, that's not the case at all.
And she's like every other section leader of the Norfolk State Mighty Legion, working endlessly to be the best.
You know, just keeps me in the same loop over and over again of me constantly chasing after perfection.
The Mighty Legion drumline has a chance to prove they're the best.
Honestly, like a once-in-a-lifetime type of thing, like one of the biggest performances one might ever perform at.
PASIC is an acronym for Percussion Art Society International Convention. If you are a percussion student or major and you get asked to perform at PASIC, there is nothing bigger.
Let's do it again, singing from here one more time.
The Percussion Arts Society invited the Mighty Legion drumline to perform in Indianapolis at its yearly international convention. Known as PASIC, it's not a name you may know if you aren't a musician. But as NSU's director of bands, William Bethea, says,
this is like the Grammys for a professional musician, all right? It's that big.
It's the mountaintop for percussionists and drummers across the world, and the first time the band has ever been selected to perform at PASIC.
You know, something that we have never done before, and we're kind of like breaking tradition and breaking history doing this.
It's a new kind of pressure for the Legion.
Only the best of the best would be asked to come perform here.
But the pressure that makes all the late night practices worth it.
That invitation to PASIC really shows us that like we're the premier percussion section, you know, at least at HBCU culture.
In Norfolk, Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
What a big year for the Legion, huh? Mm-hmm. All right, Janet, it's been great looking back on these amazing stories over the last hour.
And I hope you really enjoyed them. You can catch more passionate pieces on air and on 13newsnow.com. Thanks for joining us and allowing us to tell the stories of now for 70 years.
And we're looking forward to serving our community now and in the future. So we'll see you again soon right here on 13 News Now.